Betting show. We got a little bit of work to do after last weekend. Not the best weekend. I think I went 2-3. Connor, what was your record last weekend?
1-3.
1-3. Yeah. So we got a little bit of making up to do, which I feel confident about it. We got off to a great start. My One of my best games of the week was New Mexico State Aggies. New Mexico State Aggies, when we went on live on Tuesday afternoon, New Mexico was 2.5 point underdog. I think on Wednesday they're at +3, and it trickled down to +1.5. Still an underdog at kickoff. I hit it multiple times at each number, and they absolutely destroyed Sam Houston State last night.
And oh my gosh, man, Sam Houston. Whew. That they were they were the first team that was off the board for me in terms of preseason win totals. I was this
Mm-hmm.
close to firing away on him, but what kept me from it was Conference USA, and most everyone sucks in Conference USA.
Yeah.
But it turns out that Sam Houston's going to suck a little bit more than every other Conference USA team this year because New Mexico State, they're not any good. Now, I haven't gone back and checked this. Viewers, you can check this out for yourself. I would like to know. In fact, I'm going to pull this up, John, once you get going with some of your stuff here in a little while. I'm going to pull
Okay.
up the last time New Mexico State beat an FBS team that bad. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while because what did they win by 27 points?
Yeah.
They beat
I'm
Tulsa
gonna pull it
by
up.
14, 15 points. And yeah, I think it's had to be a while since, gosh, I don't even know who their coach would have been. Um, yeah, it's been a while though for New Mexico State, and you got to give them credit. They played a great game. I will say that Sam Houston at least looked like they had a pulse offensively coming out of the bye week, but still they just have a lot of work to do. It's Longo, right? Phil Longo?
Yeah, head
Yeah,
coach
he's
for
got
Sam
his work
Houston.
cut
Yeah.
out for him in his first year. I would say a mass exodus, but a lot of the better Sam Houston State players they transferred out. A lot of them went to Temple to follow Keeler, but a lot of work to do. But as New Mexico State showed, it is possible, and they had a great game. I was impressed with the way they played, and an easy cast to start off the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Sam Houston, by the way, they're going to challenge going winless this year overall. Now, look, it's Conference USA. I don't want to say probably with the way Sam Houston's looked so far this
Hmm.
year, but I'll say there might be, at some point they're going to find a way to sneak out a win in there just because Conference USA is not very good.
Yeah.
But Sam Houston's preseason win total was 4.5, shaded to the over slightly, not like heavily. But they're yeah, if you hit the Sam Houston under with their preseason win total at 4.5, you're feeling very good right now. That's going to cash for
They're
sure.
in good shape. They're in good shape. So let's go ahead and jump into this weekend's games. We'll get right into it because, like I said, a lot of our review from last weekend happened on Tuesday. We'll usually have that show on Mondays, but sometimes Tuesdays if we need to, based off scheduling. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have quite a bit of
Oh, John,
Friday games, actually. Go ahead.
real quick, I was pulling it up. So the
Okay.
last time that New Mexico State beat an FBS team that decisively was way back in late November of 2022. New Mexico State won at Liberty 49-14. Remember that was when Liberty
Oh,
was kind
wow.
of fading towards the end of that season.
Yeah.
I think Liberty had beat Arkansas like a few weeks before, and then who Hugh Freeze I think was their coach at the time. Then um, he started getting some attention elsewhere. He
Hmm.
started looking elsewhere, and you could
That's
just
right.
tell Liberty was, I don't want to say on quit mode, but they kind of lost their focus on the season. And so
Yeah.
yeah, they won at Liberty by 5 touchdowns. That's the last time New
Wow.
Mexico State beat an FBS team by that margin or similar to that
Yeah,
margin.
that's surprising. But they did it and they had a great game last night. Andrew, hey guys, hope all is well. Louisville this weekend, big letdown spot for Virginia. Yeah, I mean Louisville came through last weekend. I didn't know if they were gonna. I thought Pitt would that'd be a game Pitt would win against Louisville. Louisville ended up coming from behind and winning by 6, 7 points, somewhere around there. I don't remember the final, but Yeah, you're right. This is a total. It's a letdown spot for Virginia, but you're also gonna have to lay 6.5 points with the Cardinals. So I don't know if I'll be betting that, but I'll be looking at that number. That's for sure.
I like Andrew's point there about the spot here because the spot obviously screams Louisville. Plus, it's at Louisville, and then Virginia obviously coming off the big win against Florida State. But the big thing is Virginia is typically not a team that wins that kind of game. So this is like new. This is completely a new area for Virginia football. This is
Hmm.
not a position that they're used to being in. So similar to
Correct.
this, kind of, although on a much smaller scale. Remember, gosh, 6 years ago almost, when Minnesota took down Penn State and they started that season 9-0 after that victory. The very
Hmm.
following week, they played at Iowa, and Iowa at I think Iowa closed as like a field goal favorite, and everyone was taking Minnesota on the money
Hmm.
line and against the spread. And some people were like, the sharps were like, Minnesota hasn't been in this territory before. This is a new area for them. They didn't know how to handle that kind of success. And what
Yeah.
happened? Iowa jumped out to a 13-0 lead. I remember this because I had Minnesota's preseason win total over that year. It already cashed, obviously. It was 7.5. But point being, they weren't used to being in that territory. Iowa got off to a 13-0 lead. They never looked back. Minnesota came back towards the end, too little too late. Iowa held on. It was at Kinnick Stadium.
Hmm.
That was back when Iowa's offense had a pulse. Um, so in a similar fashion, right? Minnesota coming off a big win. They're not used to being in that territory. Here's Virginia coming off a big win. They're ranked, but they're going on the road now. How do they handle this being built up now as a legit top
Yeah.
25 team, now again going on the road against a Louisville team who by power ratings, by preseason metrics, was considered on a different level than Virginia. So I agree with Andrew's point here. Um, the only thing that makes me stay away from this is that, John, both you and I have kind of been on the Virginia bandwagon from the start,
Yep.
and
They've got a
so
good team.
when it comes to like those gut feelings, like at the beginning of a season for certain
Hmm.
teams, I just never want to go about fading them. But in terms of the spot here, it definitely favors Louisville.
Yep. I agree. And we'll get into this game a little bit more. But yeah, 6.5. This could get to 7. I tend to lean Virginia just because of the number, but and at the same time, I don't know how good Louisville is yet. They did play Pittsburgh, but how good is Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
So it's one of those things where, uh, and I think is it the Miller Moss is the Louisville quarterback, correct?
yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
so I mean, I trust him. He's a good quarterback, but like we talked about it on Tuesday, Virginia's no slouch. Like they have a legit offensive line, defensive line, and a quarterback who, granted, could get a little, gunslinger at times, but they could run the football. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a great game. But we'll talk about it a little bit more once we get it down the line. You have anything else to add before we get into the Friday games?
One last thing about the Virginia Louisville game. I have seen people, I have seen different people, including some that I know, and sharps recommend both sides as like best bet. So I've seen some people say best bet Virginia +7. You might even find some 7.5s out there because
Oh
early
wow.
on in the week I heard nothing but Louisville -6.5. But the last
Uh-huh.
24 hours or so, I've heard Virginia +7 or +7.5. So it's not going to be a game that I'm going to best bet, but this is certainly something to monitor because, again, I agree with Andrew's point here. The spot screams Louisville, so I don't hate that play at all. It's just not a game that I'm going to be touching.
Yeah, right now, bet online, I'm seeing 6.5. Laying $1.13, totals at 61, juice to the under $1.20. So I mean, there's plenty of time. That's not something that I'm gonna grab right now, unless if you like Louisville, then yeah, bet it now before it gets to a 7.
Yeah.
But if you like Virginia, I would wait to see if a 7 shows a little bit closer to kickoff. But if that's everything, let's go ahead and jump into this weekend's games, and we'll start with the Friday night games. First one, this is at 6 Central. Charlotte traveling to Tampa, take on South Florida. The Bulls are laying 28 points, total of 56. You have any info on this one?
One thing, uh, it's USF or no play for me. So Charlotte's quarterback is out for the season. He was named. He was. They announced earlier this week, maybe
Uh-huh.
48 hours ago or so, that he was out for the season. Um, so yeah, USF can name their score here. The only issue I have, which is why it's not a best bet for me,
Mhm.
is South Florida plays at North Texas next Friday. There
Ooh,
is a
that's a
great chance.
showdown.
Great, yeah, that's a great game. Great, and UNT is doing a blackout for that game,
Uh-huh.
so they're going to be introducing some new helmets. So North Texas fans, that
Yep.
should be a better environment because sometimes the fan base doesn't show up. The student body for football games is not as great as it is for basketball games
Yeah.
for the Mean Green. But yeah, I think USF at some point against Charlotte's probably going to be looking ahead, but
Mhm.
like they could still win by 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. So it's not
And
best bet material, but it's South Florida or no play for me.
yeah, and I also saw in North Texas they're gonna let class out at noon on Friday, so they're going all in basically. The president, everyone's going all in to try to get that win because basically a potential playoff spot's on the line in that game.
Yep.
So they're going all out for it. And you can correct me here, but I believe I saw the other day where South Florida beat Charlotte by around 30 something points last season. Um,
Pull it up.
I wanna say it was 50, 58, 58, 13, somewhere around there
I'm pulling it
off
up
the
right
top of
now.
my head. But yeah, l
59-24.
say that again?
59-24. USF beat Charlotte
Okay,
last week.
59-24. So they, 59-24. Okay, so 30, 28. I don't know. It says, I mean, it's one of those things where if you need action, okay, but this is something I would pass. Or you can look at the total. Total's 56. You think South Florida's going to blow the doors off of them? Maybe the total goes over, but nothing for me. If I was to bet, see, I can't because there's no way I'm going to lay 28 points. What even if they win by 30, it's not something that I want to do to start my Friday off.
Right. There is a
Um,
27.5 at FanDuel right now, so
okay.
you're laying minus 120 on that. It's not the worst thing in the world, but
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's taking a little bit of money, so if you like Charlotte, you want to back the Niners, grab the 28 now, because it looks like it's trickling down. But that's one that's, if you need action, okay, but that's, I could wait.
now
Let's see. Go ahead.
if you think South Florida can name their score in this game, but maybe they take their foot off the gas at some point in the second half, or maybe they start off slow and then they score like 5 touchdowns in the second half. Either way you look at it, maybe the way to go would be taking the USF team total over 41.5, but that's such a high number. It's like
Yeah,
you're hoping that
yeah,
they're really efficient early on. So it's just not the best way to go. Not that
yeah.
game.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. The next one, 6 p.m. Western Kentucky Hilltoppers at Delaware. Blue Hens laying 2.5. Total 61.5.
I don't
Anything
have
here?
anything on this game. I don't really know. I don't
Both
know what to
teams
expect.
are both teams are 3-1, I believe. Pretty good records. Andrew, last week Marshall losing that game in double OT helped the win total under
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yep. So when you look at Marshall this year, coming into the season, we figured that they were most likely going to go 2-2 in the non-conference. And
Hmm.
then, you and I, John, we also played Marshall under 3.5 conference wins because we were looking at Marshall like as a bottom Sun Belt team. And
Yep.
when you look at the East Division, think about some of the best teams in the Sun Belt. The majority of them are in the East. We knew
Hmm.
JMU was going to be a juggernaut this year. We figured Old Dominion could be sneaky good, but they've even been better than we thought, and we were still high on Old Dominion. We figured Georgia Southern would have a pulse this year. They've been a little disappointing defensively, but pretty good offensively. But we still thought Marshall would be a bottom East Division team along with Georgia State, and they play Georgia State on the road. So yeah, Andrew
Hmm.
brings up a really good point there. That's
Yeah.
huge because we thought Louisiana would at least be in the top half of the Sun Belt, but then their
Hmm.
quarterback, the transfer from LSU, got knocked out in Week 1 against Rice for the entire season. So now it's like, oh my gosh, you have a few stinkers in the Sun Belt.
Hmm.
Still, Marshall not being any better than what we thought, but Louisiana being much worse. So
Yeah.
yes, that's huge for the win totals because when you look ahead for the rest of their schedule, Marshall Like I maybe they win at Georgia State, but they're not going to win at Appalachian State. They're not going to beat Old Dominion. They're not going to beat JMU.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to beat Georgia Southern. So yeah, Marshall, they'll be lucky to win 2 more games the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are tough games. Yeah, nothing for me. I know both. I mean, Delaware's been taking money in this one, but 61 and a half total. Again, nothing for me there. But we have a couple interesting, three interesting night games. These get started at 9 Central, and that's gonna be the New Mexico Lobos taking on the San Jose State Spartans. San Jose State laying 2.5, total of 58. You have any info for us on this one?
This is not best bet material, but I know San Jose State's kind of gotten off to a slow start in the non-conference, but a lot of that has to do with like they're 1-3 overall, but they've lost 2 heartbreakers. They lost in heartbreaking fashion to Central Michigan in week 1, and
Hmm.
then they blew it against Stanford last week. They had a 2-score lead early in the fourth quarter, and they let Stanford convert a 4th and 10 towards the end of the game. Stanford scored a touchdown with hardly any time left.
Yeah.
Um, so that's now 2 lucky wins for the Cardinal. So Stanford actually somehow might get to 3 wins this year. They got 2 wins right now. We'll see if they can get another one. Um, but with San Jose State, like they're 1-3, but they're better than the record. New Mexico
Hmm.
3-1, worse than the record. There's a reason why San Jose State is the short home favorite here. I don't have any leans though. Like this is not best bet material, but
Hmm.
where I'm going at with this game is that San Jose State's better than the record. So because I see a lot of people taking New Mexico money line, just assuming that they're the outright better team.
Hmm.
Maybe they are, but I'm not willing to bet that with my own money. And San Jose State still has everything out in front of them in terms of their Mountain West goals. They still have a manageable Mountain West schedule. No Boise, no UNLV. So this is not a game that I would be betting at all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen New Mexico play. They've played, they've looked great. San Jose State, I haven't watched them play. I know that the Stanford game came down to the very end, the fourth quarter. But I thought this game might get to 3 points, and I would have taken New Mexico because San Jose State was taking some money earlier. I think earlier this morning, late last night, but it looks like it's gone back to minus 110 on both sides. So I may just wait. Again, this is a 9 p.m. kickoff. You don't need to bet it immediately unless you really like, San Jose State. But yeah, this is a wait and see game for me. But I know what I'm getting with New Mexico. I just don't know how good San Jose State is just yet. But I do like the way New Mexico's been playing, running the football. The coach has this team going in the right direction. So is San Jose State. But again, night game, got to go on the road. It's going to be a road test for New Mexico. They, I think the game against New Mexico State last week, and they were at home, I think. But again, that's a rivalry game, same state. But all right, next game, 9:30 p.m. West Virginia Mountaineers travel to Brigham Young, take on the Cougars. BYU's laying 19 and a half. Heavily bet game on BYU. Laying $1.16 right now, total of 46 and a half. You have any info on us on this game for us?
West Virginia's banged up right now, but I still don't love BYU's offense. This is BYU or no play for me, but this is not
Uh-huh.
best bet material either. Um, maybe we get to fading West Virginia at some point this season, but I'm just like, what is it, 18 and a half,
19 and a half.
19 and a half?
Yeah. I think it
I,
was 18 and a half yesterday, and it's gone all the way up to 19, 19 and a half, and they're still taking money, laying $1.16. But West Virginia's quarterback, Nico Marichal, entering the transfer portal, deciding to red shirt. Sounds like he's leaving on good terms, but at the same time, West Virginia's gotten blown out by between 30 and 40 points 2 weeks in a row. Now they got to go on the road with a true freshman quarterback. I don't know if he started last week against Utah, but they got killed at home against Utah. And now they have to travel and take on BYU in a night game. True freshman quarterback. This doesn't look like good. Like this is not a good spot for West Virginia. Even if you want to take the points, even if you want to fade everyone on BYU, you're gonna have to plug your nose and take the 19.5 of West Virginia, hoping that they can get maybe a defensive touchdown. I'm not too sure if BYU has a look ahead spot either, but it would be hard to back the West Virginia in this spot for me.
Yeah, this is not best bet material. If West Virginia, given that they're playing this game on the road with all their injuries, especially on offense, if they
Yeah.
had a team total of like 15 and a half, 16 and a half, then I would say take the under on that, but it's at 13 and a half. So even if West
Oh
Virginia's
yeah.
offense stinks in this game, there's still a
Hmm.
chance that they could hit 14 with like a garbage time touchdown. And BYU, they don't play for style, they just play to win.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I don't want to lay it with BYU. I mean, this is probably going to be a lower scoring game.
And
But
I believe BYU's beaten West Virginia pretty bad the last 2 years as well. More than 20 points. You could pull that one up, but I want to say I looked at it last night and West or BYU's destroyed West Virginia the past excuse me, the past two games is what I looked at.
So BYU did not play West Virginia last year. In
Okay.
2023, BYU played at West Virginia. West Virginia won 37-7.
Mhm.
In 2022, well, they
Maybe I
didn't they,
maybe
they
I
didn't
looked
play
at
because
this
they weren't in the Big
wrong.
12 yet. So they've only really faced one time in
Really?
the
Let
last few
me
years.
All right, one second. Let me look at something because I would have swore um what did I look at then? Let's see here.
But yeah, this game doesn't provide me any best bet material, so no play for me. Yep,
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't blame you. I just want to look at this cuz I want to see what the hell I was looking at. Oh,
Let's see, BYU
maybe I
played
did
West
look at that
Virginia in
wrong. Okay, yeah, that's
2016.
my bad. Yeah, maybe I did look at that wrong. Okay. Yeah, so never mind. I was wrong there. Good fact check. Okay, yeah, I think it would be BYU or nothing for me. I think I would probably I did take a small bet on BYU at minus 19 earlier this morning. I just don't see it with the freshman quarterback, but you know, I've talked about this past few weeks that Rich Rodriguez usually gets his teams up, but they've just been getting their ass kicked the last 2 weeks, and now they have to go on the road. And BYU, I mean, I know you're not high on them, CFE, but I mean they've been taking care of business so far this season.
They have been, for sure. Kalani Sitake,
Good
always.
coach, great coach.
He's a great coach. He always gets his team ready. And he is one of those guys that he's kind of like trying to think of. He's one of those coaches that you just don't want to bet against, like
Yeah.
no matter what. Like he could have a roster that doesn't look that good. They're going to overachieve. He's one of those coaches, one of those top coaches that gets the most out of the least.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And for our last game on Friday night tonight, Colorado State at San Diego State. I know we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday. Aztecs laying 6.5, total of 41. Take it away. Let's hear it.
So I lean San Diego State. I think you can find a 5.5 out there, laying a little bit more juice there.
Wait,
I also like.
a 5.5?
Last time I checked, there was a 5.5 at Action Network.
Where? Oh, I don't. Is that even a real deal? Yeah, 5.5 is crazy. I
There's a lot of
Action
six and
Network
a half.
has like a they is that like a Canadian thing? You could actually bet on there?
I can't. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I don't know where I didn't know they had like a sports book or something. Andrew,
at,
we'll get to your comments once we get to the UTSA game, we'll go over all of that. I promise.
um, at DraftKings, you can tease spreads and team totals,
Okay.
things of that nature. You can tease it down to 5.5 for San Diego State, laying minus 129, minus 130. Not terrible. But I lean San Diego State minus the points. But here's my best bet for this game. I know we discussed this earlier this week. This is something that I talked about a few weeks ago. I love the Aztec defense. They're one of my favorite defenses in the G5 this year, along with Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, which we'll talk about next week because they're on a bye week. We can't tell them this
Yeah.
week, unfortunately. But give me Colorado State team total under 17 and a half. Above a key number here for one. You are going to be laying a little bit of juice. If you like Colorado State team total at 16 and a half, you can tease it down. You can find like plus 105, plus 106 on that. Obviously better price there, but we're just going to take the team total under 17 and a half. You can find that right now at FanDuel minus 136. So yeah, a little bit of juice there. It just got moved up this morning. There was some money coming in last night when it was at 16 and a half. So I'm glad that we're getting it. I'm glad we are getting it at this number. Colorado State's offense, John, has been awful. And here's the thing. They haven't even played a good defense yet.
Yeah.
They played UTSA, and we love UTSA's offense. Their defense is not very good.
Yeah.
And then
Hasn't
they
been
played
good.
Washington State at home. Washington
Mhm.
State's in rebuild mode, especially on defense, and they scored 3 points. 3 points at home against Washington State. And they're going on the road against the best defense in the Mountain West and one of the best defenses in the entire G5. It's actually a top 40 defense in the entire country in almost
Mhm.
every metric. Power ratings too. Love this San Diego State Aztec defense. Now here's why I'm taking the Colorado State team total under and not San Diego State laying 5.5, 6.5, depending on where you
Mhm.
look. The San Diego State offense has still been a struggle bus this year, and they won 6-3 last week against a
Oh,
rebuilding
Northern
Northern
Illinois. Yeah,
Illinois
I saw
team.
that. Yeah.
So, like, would it shock me if San Diego State ends up winning this game by more than a touchdown? No, because Colorado State, honestly, guys, kind of in fade mode right now. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. There may be a coaching change in the near future at Colorado State, but best bet under 17 and a half team total for Colorado State. They're going to struggle to get to 10 in this game. They're certainly going to struggle to get to 17. That's why I like it under 17 and a half. The San Diego State offense would have to give the ball to Colorado State to get this number over 17 and a half. So I like it. Give me that Colorado State team total under 17 and a half.
Yeah, and
By
I'm
the way,
seeing
San Diego State,
on Bet Online, I'm seeing. Go ahead.
San Diego State's played 2 home games up to this point. They have not given up a single point at home this year. They've pitched 2 shutouts, including against Cal a couple of weeks ago. And
Yep.
Cal has a much better offense than Colorado State. So yeah, I love this play.
Yeah, and on Bet Online, I'm seeing 16 and a half, actually juiced to the over. So
Right.
this game's not until 9:30, so you have plenty of time to watch that number or jump on it now for the nice price. But yeah, we like this San Diego State defense, and again, they're at home, Mountain West game, big game, laying 6.5. I don't know if I'll lay the points. I'll be looking more at the total. But I think you know, mm, or I'll might just tell you with the team total as well.
Yeah, I would be surprised unless San Diego State has like 4 turnovers in this game and
Yeah.
Colorado State gets short fields. By the way, Colorado State, so on the field it's been a mess, and I said off the field there's been some discussion. They're changing play callers in this game
Mhm.
supposedly, so that doesn't matter. They've been having a carousel with their starting quarterbacks. I
Yeah.
think Fowler Nicolosi might be the starting quarterback for this game. It
Okay.
doesn't matter that they have struggled to move the football. They a couple years ago, John, they had a couple good receivers and a good tight end. They don't have any weapons. I don't see again unless San Diego State's offense gives Colorado State some points. I don't see how
Mhm.
they get over this team total at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. All right, let's jump into the Saturday games, and we'll start off with Air Force at Navy, 11 a.m. game. Navy laying 12 points, and odd total for this game, 53. Oddly high total.
Yeah.
It's at 53. You got any info on this one?
So most of the time, it's probably 70% of the time, the under cashes between service academies.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not this. I know the number's kind of high, and maybe the under cashes again, because I mean this is like a for real streak. I forget the number, but it's a crazy high number. The under cashes, no matter what the total is.
Yeah.
So But this is no play for me. Why? John, we talked about Air Force last week, and we knew their offense was going to score on Hawaii. And we thought with Hawaii playing 6 consecutive games, having to play on the mainland, their quarterbacks beat up, receiving core is not fully healthy, we
Yeah.
thought that they might struggle a little bit on the road to score. And they didn't. And look, we like Hawaii this year. We
Yeah.
just didn't like him in that spot. Well, it didn't matter because Air Force can't stop anything or
Yeah, their
anyone.
defense got destroyed.
So no play for me here. This is one that I just kind of want to sit back and watch to see either how bad this Air Force defense is, like truly, or maybe again these two teams they know how to defend each other. But I mean, Navy's the better team. I don't have a side here, John. Do you?
No, no, I do not like betting service academies. I don't like betting their games. They're ugly and unpredictable. No, thank you. Yeah, and yeah, the thing is, I remember betting an Air Force Navy game a while back, and their offenses were actually pretty good. And yeah, that total still, I think they didn't score more than 20 points. So yeah, there's no way because I feel like if I bet the under, this thing goes over. If I bet the over, it goes way under. So I find zero enjoyment betting these games because they never go my way, and it's just frustrating to watch like the triple option and stuff. So nothing for me, nothing for me here. If I had to, I would probably just take the points and go under, but I'm not gonna be betting on that one. All right, 11 a.m. game. Next up, Kentucky Wildcats at the Georgia Bulldogs, coming off a huge loss to Alabama. UGA laying 20 points against Kentucky. What do you got?
No play for me here. These games between Kentucky and Georgia, ever since Kirby Smart has been at Georgia as the
Hmm.
head coach, they're typically pretty low scoring.
Yeah.
But I know they're coming off of an emotional loss, but to me, Georgia in these spots, they normally lay it on their next opponent. And obviously, John, you and I are extremely low on this Kentucky team. We have a preseason win total under 5.5 that closed at 4.5. We still lean
Hmm.
under at 4.5 because
Yep.
we thought they were going to absolutely stink in SEC play, and they have. But at this high of a number, and these games are typically low scoring, like the only way that I would play this is a Kentucky team total under, but it's at 13.5. And if
Ooh.
Georgia ends up,
Yeah.
getting a big lead and they take their foot off the gas, maybe Kentucky scores some garbage time. So no
Yeah.
play for me here.
Yeah. Same here. Too big of a number to lay it with Georgia, and yeah, I just not. There's no way I'm going to bet Kentucky. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if they backdoor this thing. Yeah, you may want to look at the total, but yeah, it's just an ugly game. Georgia coming off a bad, not a bad loss, but they kind of got dominated by Alabama. We talked about this on Tuesday. Alabama looked like one of the best teams in the country that night, and I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia comes out swinging. But Kentucky also played Ole Miss pretty close, and it's not a game that I'm going to bet because, like you said in the past, these have been weird games that always get backdoored on either side. So nothing for me. I really don't care to watch this one or bet it. But the next game, ooh, a little bit of line movement. This is a game we talked about on Tuesday, and let's go back to it now. And that's going to be the Iowa State Cyclones at the Cincinnati Bearcats. Bearcats now laying 1 point. It was one earlier in the week, and then it got to two at least yesterday, and now it's back to one. Take it away.
Just take Cincinnati on the money line. So, John, last week, in fact, we've been talking about this for 2 weeks, I think now. The two teams we were looking to fade at some point, we just had to wait
Hmm.
for the right spot, was LSU and Iowa State. You faded both last week. You cashed in on one. And I agreed with like both sides. I just
Yeah.
didn't want to play the Arizona Iowa State game just because I don't want to put my faith in Arizona. Arizona at the time going into that game was undefeated against the number, and I'm like probably too good to be true. But again, I didn't want to back Iowa State. I only want to fade those fraudulent teams in the first 6, 7 games when I get to that right spot. I didn't think it was the right spot. I think it is this week for Iowa
Hmm.
State. John, that was a great play with LSU Ole Miss. Ole Miss should have won that game by more than what they did, but
Yep.
obviously you had the correct side. That was a great play, and I like Cincinnati here. Now, what's even making me more confident today than I was earlier this week.
Mhm.
Iowa State's going to be without their top two corners. What is Cincinnati doing well right now? For
Throwing the
one, they're actually
football.
controlling the line of scrimmage. They protect Sorsby well. Sorsby does a good job. Like if there's no one open, he takes off and gets 3 or 4 yards. He does a pretty good
Mhm.
job at that with his legs extending plays. But like you just said, John, they're throwing the football well. We figured Cincinnati would be able to do that with Sorsby coming into this year. We just
Yep.
didn't know how the new look receiving core would ultimately play. But they've played well last couple of weeks. They won in Jayhawk land last week. Yeah, give me Cincinnati just money line because I don't trust Satterfield to lay the points. I just feel like Iowa State's time is coming, and it might be in this game. And by the way, if it comes down to a close game, Satterfield sucks in close games. But here's what increases my confidence with the Bearcats this week if it happens to be a one-score game
Mhm.
late. Iowa State is going to be without their starting place kicker.
Oh, okay.
So if it comes down to special teams, that leans Bearcats right now. And
Mhm.
on the field, there's a ton of injuries for Iowa State. Cincinnati is, I don't want to say they're fully healthy. They're not. But
Yeah.
this is probably the biggest game for Cincinnati under Satterfield, maybe ever. In his coaching tenure there, at the very least, it's the biggest game that they have had in quite some time in the
Mhm.
last few years since they joined the Big 12. Give me Cincinnati on the money line. Iowa State's time is coming, just like LSU's was.
Yep. No, I agree with you 100%. I was a week early fading the fraudulent Cyclones. Looks like a ton of the betting public is backing Iowa State. They see that number
Yep.
14 team in the country going on the road, taking on little old Cincinnati. Why is Cincinnati favored? Well, it's for a reason. I agree. Just in case there's a missed extra point, OT, but I don't think it's going to come to that. Just take the money line. It's now 115. So either way, however you want to play it, but yeah, just go ahead and take the money line. Don't take any chances. I don't think it come down to it, but you never know.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you 100% with Cincinnati Bearcats. We talked about on Tuesday. All right, next game we go to the Big Ten, another 11 a.m. game, and that's going to be the Wisconsin Badgers traveling to Ann Arbor, take on Michigan Wolverines. Wolverines laying 16 and a half. It's juiced $1.25. You have any info on this one?
This is a gross, gross game. My goodness. Well, at least for the offensive side.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's defense has been fine. Michigan's defense we knew was going to be really good. We were not exactly sure what to expect from the Michigan offense early on in the season. I think Michigan up to this point has probably been overall what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Wisconsin has been worse than what a lot of people
A
thought,
lot
and it's
worse. A lot worse.
right. And it, by the way, you know that meme where it's like our expectations were low for you, but holy smokes,
Yeah.
that's Wisconsin.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, the only way I would play this, well, this was better early on this week, but not now, would have been the Wisconsin team total under. It's at 12 and a half. It's not even at 13 and a half.
Wow.
Uh,
No, that is
um,
low.
money coming in on the over, obviously. Maybe it closes at 13 and a half there for the team total, but no play for me in this game. No play.
Okay. Yeah, if I was gonna bet this one, it would have to be with laying the points with Michigan. It's a lot of points to lay, but with that Wisconsin offense, this Michigan defense, Michigan could lock them up. I don't think the Michigan defense is that great, but coming off a bye, a solid road win against Nebraska. I think this is still a good spot for Michigan if you want to bet this one. Again, I'm not going out of my way to lay in 16 and a half points, but I think the Wolverines could destroy Wisconsin. Total of 43 and a half, a little juice to the over. You got to think Michigan just destroys this Wisconsin offense. Their quarterbacks have been terrible for Wisconsin, and they were bad against Alabama, bad against Maryland. I don't see how they can get any better against Michigan. Again, Michigan coming off a bye week. If I was to play this one, I'd lay the points with Michigan 100%. Speaking of ugly, next game at 11 a.m., the toilet bowl between the Clemson Tigers and the North Carolina Tar Heels. I don't even know. How could you lay 14 points with Dabo, and how could you trust Belichick to keep it close? At least if you take Clemson, they've got well, sort of a quarterback and some athletes. At least they have some good wide receivers, a couple, good defensive players. I see a bunch of linemen for Clemson, projected to go early in mock drafts, but I don't want any defensive player from Clemson ever on my team just based off of the way that they've had never produced ever, hardly ever in the NFL. You'll find maybe one or two Clemson Tigers, but with the amount of Tiger players that get drafted and actually pan out, it's got to be under 10%. Um, North Carolina hasn't looked good at all. Quarterback situation is dicey. They have some running backs, but they have a very small offensive line. It's just an ugly game. I can't lay the points, and I really don't want to have another North Carolina ticket. I'm swearing off of them for the rest of the season.
DDSN Nation. Guess what? CFE is. I said this a week or so ago. I am never going to tail Dabo Sweeney again. So, and I'm
Good.
certainly not going to tail this Tar Heel team. So, John,
Mm,
no play for me in this game.
yeah. Same here. This is that's like that, the joke that's a game that needs to be relegated to Cartoon Network at like 4 a.m. or something because nobody's gonna want to watch that game. All right, next 11 a.m. game. Boston College travels to Pitt, take on the Panthers. Panthers laying 6.5. Juiced at $1.17. So Pittsburgh's taking some money. You got any info for us on this one?
Nope, no play for me here.
Yeah, same. I don't really know much about either of these teams. You think Pittsburgh's going to show up and they don't? Boston College, they got beat by Cal, which I wasn't surprised by that. So I really don't want to back Boston College. I don't think they're very good. And Pittsburgh and Narduzzi laying, about 6.5 points, probably a touchdown by the time we get to Saturday. No, thank you. And it's just a game where, I want nothing to do with this one.
Yeah, no play for me.
Okay, quick action here, 11 a.m. Ohio laying 14 points on the road at Ball State. You got any info for us on this one?
Ohio defense good. Ohio defense bad. That's the info I have for you. And then Ball State's not a good team, obviously. They're not going to make a bowl game, but there's 14s, there's 14 and a halves out there. No play for me. No
Okay,
play.
yeah,
I love Ohio's offense, but their defense is not good at all. Bowling Green's offense, which is not good, put up 300 yards in the first half against
mm,
Ohio.
wow,
No
yeah, that's
thanks
not
for
good, especially if you're laying 14 points. Yeah,
yeah.
that's not a good problem to have there. All right, next 11 a.m. game, one that you like very much, and that's the Illinois Fighting Illini laying 9.5 points at Purdue, the Boilermakers. Let's see here. Yeah, still at 9.5, total 56.5. Take it away.
So we best bet this way back on, I want to say on Monday. I took Purdue plus 10 and a half. Like John just said, it's at 9.5 now. This would not be best bet material because I got it above a key number. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling really good about that. Because I think this could be a game that comes down to the very, very end. And obviously, in that case, it'd be a one-score game. So in that case, Purdue would cover the 9.5. But just in case, let's say Purdue is down by a touchdown, they get stopped on fourth down late in the game. Illinois gets the ball back. Purdue holds them to a field goal. It's a 10-point spread. You lose it at 9.5. You'd cash in at 10.5. If you can find a flat 10 before kickoff, I think that's good enough for best bet material. But again, I took it at 10.5 earlier this week. We tweeted it out. Make sure to follow DDSN on Twitter because we're going to start posting more and more stuff
Yeah.
earlier on in the week with better numbers. We've been getting better at that the last couple of weeks. We're going to continue to put that stuff out early. We always have market agreement, John, whether it's in the summer or throughout the regular season. The
Yeah.
market almost always agrees with us. So yeah, Purdue plus 10.5. I think Purdue is live to win this game. So at 9.5, guys, this is not best bet material, obviously, but I would sprinkle a little bit on the money line. So here's the analysis behind this. Purdue has won. What did I text you, John? They've won 7 of the last 9 of these matchups. It's a little bit of a rivalry, not a huge
Yeah.
rivalry, a little bit of one. Illinois coming off of a couple of emotional games, most Most recently, the emotional last-second win with the walk-off field goal against USC, and
Mhm.
Illinois has Ohio State on deck in
Look ahead
Champaign.
spot.
It's a trap game. Purdue coming off of a bye. Purdue's much better than the power ratings would tell you right now. They can throw the football. What's Illinois' weakness defensively? Stopping the pass. This is a good spot. And again, Purdue has won 7 of the last 9. And remember last year when Purdue did not even have a pulse, they lost in overtime to Illinois by 1 point.
Yep.
1 point at Illinois. I love Purdue plus 10.5. I still lean Purdue at 9.5. You just might be sweating that one out a little bit more.
Mhm.
So yeah, sprinkle a little bit on the money line. If you can find a flat 10 before kickoff, I take it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said, this is a game where Purdue can win. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they have a pretty good chance of winning. If they're going to win one Big Ten game, it might be this one. And we talked about this on Tuesday. Purdue's actually been throwing the ball around. They've been scoring points, something they haven't done in years. They scored against Notre Dame. They scored against USC. Did they win those games? No, but at least they weren't getting shut out. Just finishing the game with a field goal, 10 points, 6 points. They've actually been putting up some points. So I expect Purdue to, like you said, go neck and neck with Illinois. I think they can win this game.
Yep.
I took this one at 9.5, so I'm with you on that one. All right, next game, 11 a.m. The K-State Wildcats travel to Waco, take on the Baylor Bears. Baylor laying 6 points here, total of 61.5. You got any info for us on this one?
Nope. K-State, when we talked about it last week, if they were going to cover a spread, it was last week, and they did.
Yeah.
But they're healthier now. They have Edwards back at running back. Baylor cannot stop anyone or anything defensively.
Yeah, if this not to cut you off there, but you're right. And if you think about it that way, if you watch the Auburn Baylor game, you know that Baylor's going to have a tough time running the ball. So if K State gets back to their power running game with maybe even using Avery Johnson in the running game, they could give Baylor some trouble here.
Yeah, no play for me here. I don't fully really know what to expect from either of these teams. Well, here's what I know what to expect. I think Kansas State can run the football now. Now that they're healthier. And then I know for a fact Baylor and their offense will put up yards and their
Yeah.
points. From there, though, I don't know what to expect. The K-State passing game, the K-State defense, I don't know what to expect in this matchup. Another Big 12 game that I'm avoiding. I've taken one Big 12 matchup, John, this entire season, and it's this week with
Mhm.
Cincinnati on the money line just because I want to fade Iowa State in the right spot. That's it. I
Yeah.
don't have anything on any other Big 12 game for right now.
All right. Now I'm looking up how Kansas State ran the ball last week. They rushed for 266 yards, 6 yards a carry, and that was at home against Central Florida. Those are great numbers. I'm checking out Baylor, see if who Baylor has coming up. Baylor has TCU. They have a bye week actually, so very interesting. And let's see. Okay, they played Oklahoma State last week. So yeah, I mean, I might be inclined to take 6 points here with Kansas State, especially because I think that they can run the ball, and if they do that, they could compete with Baylor. And like we said, a lot of these Baylor games come down to the very end. So taking 6 now, not terrible idea. But you also have to trust Avery Johnson and Chris Kleiman, who are both basically Avery Johnson's battling for his reputation and career, and Chris Kleiman's doing the same. His job, his reputation, because it couldn't be any lower right now. The win last week helped a lot, but we'll see if they can follow it up on the road against Baylor. Totals at 61.5. I'm not gonna play any totals, but I can see there being some points here. But I think I trust this Kansas State defense a little bit. I think they can keep this one close. But then again, we'll find out this week to see if they actually did turn a new leaf or they're the same K State that got killed by Arizona. So we'll find out. All right, here's an ugly one. The Army Cadets, the Black Knights, laying 7 points on the road at UAB, the Fighting Trent Dilfers. Speaking of coaches fighting for their lives, Any info on this one? Looks like UAB's taking some money plus it or plus 7, laying $1.20 here.
No play for me here. A lot of my colleagues are all over UAB and their team total over in this game. UAB plus 7. If you can find a flat 7 out there, there's no 7.5s out there. Probably only
Uh-huh.
6.5 now. But I don't have any strong leans in this game because I can never and never will back Trent Dilfer. So no play for me here. I don't trust Army though. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't trust either
same
team.
here. It's a pass for me. No way I'm gonna back Army laying 7, and no way I'm going to uh take the points with Trent Dilfer. I don't care if it's plus 40. I'm not. I want nothing to do with him. All right, next game. This now we can get into where Andrew had a couple questions, and that's going to be 12 p.m. kick. UTSA Roadrunners laying 6.5 on the road at Temple. Andrew was asking earlier, not to get off topic, but the win total for UTSA under 7.5 is going to be close. Same for Washington and Washington State. Washington State under 5.5. Oh, he meant over 7.5 for UTSA. If UTSA loses to Temple, I think that future might be cooked. All right, what do you think?
So the preseason future that we have with UTSA was the conference future. We
Yeah,
liked their conference schedule. I didn't take the win total. I just bet UTSA in their conference future. We liked the price. We thought it was mispriced, and then it
I
eventually
like the win
closed.
total. I like the win total, but I was expecting them to beat Texas State. But go ahead.
Um, yeah, I just liked their conference future at the time because I think those odds were like plus. I think it was like 6-1. I think there were some places that it was plus 650 for them to win the American. I thought it should have been priced like 4-1, and it closed there. Now throughout the season, it'll change, it'll fluctuate, but I thought that was a good bet at the time. That was I think early June that we did that. Um, but I don't have any like strong leans for this game because UTSA has been worse defensively than I thought they'd be. And
Yeah,
I wasn't high on UTSA's defense, but they've been awful.
yeah,
Offensively, haven't been quite as good as I thought they would be, but I still thought their non-conference was tricky. That's why I didn't like their win total.
yeah,
But now they're getting into conference play. I don't have a strong lean for this game because I don't like to take road teams to cover. So, or at least I don't like to take road teams often. If I think it's a really
yeah.
good spot, maybe then, but even then, I'm not crazy about taking road teams.
Especially
Um,
laying close to a touchdown. I'm sure by kickoff it will be a touchdown. 6.5 is juiced $1.18. This could get to a touchdown. UTSA on the road, coming off a bye. It's not something I'd go out of my way and bet. I would definitely be paying attention to it because it's UTSA. But again, I don't know what I'm going to get from either one of these teams. UTSA has all the potential. You have rumors of Jeff Traylor going to Arkansas. But I don't think that's a big deal. But laying this number with UTSA on the road, it's not something I want to go out of my way and do right now.
I will have a play later on in the show with taking a road team, but with the road team later on in the show as a best bet, and that's because of how bad the home team is, and that the road team is a little bit undervalued in my opinion. That's later on in the show. For this one, I have to see more from UTSA and from Temple, quite frankly, before I include either one of these teams as a best bet. So
Yeah.
no play for me.
Yeah, same here. All right. This is an interesting one. Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. Hokies laying 6 points at home, coming off of a big win, and Wake Forest coming off of a game that slipped through their fingertips against Georgia Tech.
So the Georgia Tech Wake Forest game is exactly what I was talking about a week ago. Why I don't like to take Georgia
Yeah, I
Tech.
mean we called that one exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So we were all over that one. Um, I don't know what to expect in this one. Like Virginia Tech is now actually playing with some heart. So that's good to see for their sake.
Yeah.
Wake Forest, I mean, from a power rating standpoint, these teams are pretty similar right now. No play from me. I've seen a lot of people. Josh Pate, his what do they call it? His ramen noodle express.
Uh-huh.
I think he has Wake Forest money line in this game, plus the points.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
I don't.
Wake Forest has been putting up points. Not a lot of defense, but they've been scoring. So taking 6 with Wake Forest, I don't hate it. Definitely not going to lay points with Virginia Tech. But it's not a game I'm probably going to get invested in. If I was, though, I would take the points with Wake Forest, though.
Yeah, this is another one of these spots where it's like, I don't want to take the road team here, and I'm not exactly sure what to expect from the home team. So similar to UTSA and Temple, I don't have a play here.
Okay. I think you've got one. At least you kind of talked about it for this next one. This is a 1:30 kick. Western Michigan taking on UMass. The Broncos laying 13.5 points right now on the road. What's the info you have for us on this one?
So here's a road team I'm going to take here, minus points. I'm going to take Western Michigan. John, what are the best numbers you can find for Western Michigan right now?
I'm seeing 13.5 right now. It was 13. What was that? A day or two ago. UMass is juiced right now $1.20, so you may see a 13 popping back up pretty soon. But right now it's at 13.5. I don't know if there's any 13s out there.
So when I first sent you this message a couple days ago about me being intrigued with this spot here, and I was
Yeah.
thinking about making it a best bet, it was 12 and a half, and then it got bet up to 13 and a half within like an hour after me texting you that. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to best bet this because I thought at that time it was going to close at 14 or even 14 and a
Hmm.
half. So I lean Western Michigan here. I think they're going to cover 13 and a half. I think if it was 14 and a half, I would still not make it a best bet, but I would still lean Western Michigan. UMass, I mean, they are bad. Like they are Kent State and Akron bad, and Sam Houston bad right now. I think those are the bottom four teams in the country right now.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing, UMass. So they played against Missouri and Iowa so far this season in the non-conference. I say non-conference. UMass is in the MAC now. This is a conference game.
Yeah.
So, but in those games against Missouri and Iowa, both the Hawkeyes and Tigers, they took their foot off the gas. Iowa, or like pretty early on, Iowa, think about this. The Hawkeyes of Iowa, who can't
Yeah.
score offensively, can't move the ball offensively, they took their foot off the gas early second half. Missouri, they were just cruise control. So UMass hasn't even gotten fully exposed yet, and they've still been bad against the number. Meanwhile, Western Michigan, in a similar fashion to UMass, they have had a difficult non-conference slate leading up to this game. They played against Michigan State and Illinois, and they've
Uh-huh.
been really good against the number this season. They took down Toledo despite having no offense in that game. The Western Michigan defense, they've actually been good to start this season. I they've been better than I thought they would be, and believe me, I had low expectations for UMass, but they've been worse. Here's another Wisconsin. Our expectations were low for you, but holy smokes, right?
Yeah.
So UMass is awful. Western Michigan, I still think, at least at this point, a little bit undervalued. I would lay it with Western Michigan this game. I think they could win this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Okay, there you have it. All right, next game, 2 p.m. Oklahoma State Cowboys at Arizona. U of A laying 20.5 here with some juice. So taking some money. Not something that I want to get involved with laying this type of number, but Baylor destroyed Oklahoma State. We know Oklahoma State's pretty awful. I could see Arizona running up the score here, bounce back from a pretty tough Iowa State beating they took last weekend.
Yeah, nah, no play for me here in this game. But I agree with you, John. Like I lean Arizona here, but
Um,
this is not something I'm willing to bet with my own money.
yeah, a lot of points. All right, Oregon State Beavers at App State, Appalachian State laying 2 points. You got anything for us here?
Well, first of all, DDSN Nation, apologies for the App State Boise State play last week. That's probably my worst play I've ever made. So apologies there. Um, Absolutely nothing from me in this game. This game is gross.
Yeah, last weekend I had Houston at Oregon State, but I didn't realize that Oregon State is on a quarter schedule. So that was the first actual home game with students that they had all year. And they actually had a really good crowd. Not only that, but Oregon State played one of their best games of the season, came up short, But yeah, that was a tough one for me because I didn't realize that that was, all the students were going to be there, and it was actually a packed crowd, pretty loud. But Houston was still able to escape. Nothing for me here. Not going to take Oregon State on the road after a nail biter loss like that. App State coming off a huge loss, I could see them bouncing back. But nothing for me in that game.
Yeah. N- Miss me with this game. I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I agree. Here we go. Next game. We talked about this a little bit earlier. We'll gloss over it here. 2:30 kick, and that's the Virginia Cavaliers taking on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville laying 6.5 at home. Total is 61. We discussed this earlier. Yeah, it's a big letdown spot for Virginia after taking down Florida State outright at home, but now they got to go on the road at Louisville. Louisville had a pretty strong win at Pitt, a game they could have easily stumbled in, knowing that they had Virginia coming up next. I believe Louisville's still undefeated. Is that right? Are they undefeated?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a huge ACC game for both teams. What do you think? What do you have on this one?
Nothing. I don't. Like, we were discussing it a little while ago at the beginning of the
Yeah.
show. Yep, it's a bad spot for Virginia, but I really do not want to go about fading the Cavaliers for this season.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. I agree. This is a big number for Louisville. I mean, Virginia. I mean, we've said it. All season so far. Virginia's a legitimate team. They have the offensive line. They have the defensive line. They have a great running game. They have a great quarterback. They can throw it around. He'll turn the ball over, but he'll still get you 3 or 4 touchdowns. So I'm not buying Louisville laying almost a touchdown. If this gets to 7, I'll probably take Virginia because it may be a letdown spot for Virginia, but I don't think they're that. I can't see that being that much of a letdown. They've already have one loss. They really can't take the foot off the gas. So I don't know. I don't have anything on it right now, but I'm gonna monitor that number throughout the weekend up until kick though.
yeah, I'm not going to have a play on this game.
Here's an interesting one. 2:30 Washington Huskies laying 6.5 at Maryland. Total 53.5. You have anything for this one?
So, no, because I have to see it to believe it with Washington being a good road team. Last year, they were arguably the worst road team in the country. Now,
Yep.
here's what I'll say. That was a rebuilding year for Washington, and the majority of their road games last season were against the better teams in the Big Ten. I know Maryland's gotten off to a good start, but I think that has to do more so with their opponents. Their quarterback, the freshman, Washington,
Yeah.
has been great. I don't think the rest of that team is that terrific. They've got some
Hmm.
other star underclassmen, some freshmen that have stood out this year. Um, but this is Washington or no play for me. So um, I'm going to avoid this, similar to UTSA at Temple, Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. You're looking at,
Hmm.
if you have any leans, it might be with the road team, but because of that, it's not best bet material. I'm a Damon Williams enthusiast, but I want to see
Yeah.
how Washington looks on the road. I don't love Maryland, so I'm also not going to take Maryland plus the points or money line as a best bet. So I'm going to avoid
Hmm.
this game, and for win total's sake, hope that Washington finds a way to come out with a victory.
I'm on the opposite end. This is one of my best bets, and that's Maryland +6. I'm gonna back my Terps once again. They're taking, almost a touchdown. They're taking some money here, so this might get down to 6. But I took Maryland +6.5 and a little bit on the money line. I think this is sets up perfectly for the Terrapins. I believe they were on a bye last week, and Washington coming off a deflating home loss to Ohio State. Tough game to play. Now you got to travel on the road to Maryland, across the country,
Yep.
travel across the country to Maryland. I love the Terps in this spot. Malik Washington. This is going to be Damon Williams had his coming out party last weekend. Didn't go as planned for us. But now it's Malik Washington's coming out party for the Terps. And I think he has a great game. I love Maryland here. That's my first bet of the weekend. Maryland +6, and I got him on the money line.
All right.
All right. So okay,
So
let's
here's what
go
I'll
ahead.
pull for now in that game, John. I'll pull for you to get the cover, and I'm going to pull for Washington to win outright.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, next game. Couple action games. I don't think we have anything on those. James Madison at Georgia State. You have anything there?
Here's an interesting nugget. Georgia State has yet to cover a spread this year, and James Madison, one of only I think 5 or 6 teams that's currently undefeated against the number. But no play for me here because now
Yeah,
it's like,
a lot
oh,
of
everyone's
points.
gonna be looking at those Nuggets like, oh, take
Yeah,
JMU. Maybe,
yeah.
maybe JMU does cover. I mean, they've been an absolute juggernaut like
It
we
would
thought they
not
would
be
be,
surprising.
right? But no play for me. What do you say the spread was? Is it 18 and a half or 19 and a half?
20,
20
20.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, no play.
All right, here's the outhouse game of the weekend. UL Monroe at Northwestern.
Ugh.
Wildcats laying 11 and a half.
What's the hang on? What's the money line right now?
Plus 350 for UL Monroe.
Have some fun with that. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line, but this is like I don't have anything on this game.
Yeah.
This is not best bet material, but this game, both teams are probably going to hog the clock. Northwestern's going to try.
Total
ULM's
of
going to try.
41 and a half.
Say what?
Said totals at 41 and a half.
Yeah. That's a good number for it. It's pretty fair. No best bet, but sprinkle a little bit with ULM and have some fun because ULM is going to make you play in a phone booth. Northwestern plays a similar style. Both teams are bad, so
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't have anything on this game other than have some fun with the money line sprinkle.
All right, at 2:30, your Penn State Nittany Lions laying 24 and a half at UCLA.
This is gross. So last year, Penn State traveled to USC, obviously a much higher caliber opponent than what
Yeah.
UCLA is right now, but they were fortunate to come away with the win there. It was some Tyler Warren heroics that saved
Yeah.
Penn State in that game. I don't have anything here. Like this is probably Penn State or pass, but UCLA, similar to Virginia Tech, um, they're going to be
They
playing with a
won
little.
last week, didn't they? UCLA?
No, they covered though.
Oh, they covered.
They
Okay.
finally covered. But nothing for me on this game. But UCLA is going to be playing with a little bit more passion. I have no clue what to expect from Penn State in this game. Like they're going to win, but
Yeah.
how much do they win by? Is it going to be decisively? Do they put up a big number to try to say people, hey, look, we are for real. We lost to Oregon, but we still are for real. Or do they sleepwalk through this game,
Yeah.
thinking that they only have to play their C game to come away with the win, a D plus game, honestly, to come away with the win. So I don't have anything here. This is definitely a game that I would not bet on for either team.
All right, next game, 2:30. I know you got something on this one, and that's the Texas Longhorns laying 5.5 on the road at Florida Gators. Let's see here. Total of 42 and a half.
So this was a best bet on Monday. I took under 45, a flat 45 for the total. This is this. You can count DDSN Nation because I said earlier this year, count how many games that I bet totals for. It's not going to be many. Here's one. Here's the first one. I'll take under 45 between the Longhorns and the Gators. I don't know like what team is going to look better in this game. Obviously, whatever offense does is going to look like the better team because both defenses have been awesome this year. We knew the Texas defense would be great. Florida's defense has been really good this season, but both teams' offenses have been disappointing to say the least. So there could be some weather in this game. Texas has taken some money recently. They were 4.5 an hour ago. They're now 5.5. They were 6.5 earlier this week. I think they opened at what 8.5 in this for the spread. Texas.
I thought it was 7.5, but I don't know for sure.
I know the look ahead line was 8.5, and I think it went down to
Okay.
7.5. But under 45 for the total for the game total is a best bet for me. Again, we took that on Monday. It's now at 42.5. There's probably some 41.5s out there. There's a
Yeah.
42.5 at FanDuel right now. But at this point, like that's right at a key number there. So I don't have anything more now that the total has moved down below
Yeah.
that key point, below that key number. I don't know what to expect ultimately from either offense. So, like, if you want to sprinkle Florida money line, I get it. If you want to lay it with Texas, thinking that they're going to win this game, not like by a huge margin, but comfortably because Florida's offense does nothing,
Yeah.
I can see that as well. So I don't have a play on either side here. I just like that game total under. Not at this point, but I did earlier this week.
Same here for me. It's Florida. I believe both teams are coming off of a bye. Apparently, Florida's taking a lot of public money, a lot of a high ticket count on the Gators. So Texas off of a bye. I still do like the under, even if it's at 42 and a half, because this Texas defense coming off a bye, well rested. I don't see Billy Napier coming up with any sort of tricks, anything that's gonna pretty much fool the Texas defense here. So I still like the under at 42 and a half. I don't, that's still a pretty solid number to have in a game like this. Um, will I lay the points with Texas? This is something I'll wait to see where this spread lands at. If it keeps going down eventually, then maybe I'll buy on Texas. But right now, I think it's just a free fall for Billy Napier and this Gators team, and they played decently against Miami. It was respectable. They didn't get blown out, but this Texas defense is they're going to be ready for this game. So I just want to see where this that spread kind of ends up at, and then, like I said, all the public is betting Florida, taking the points with the Gators. I'm just not. I'm just not buying it right now.
So this is my fifth best bet for this week. This is all I have in terms of best bets. Normally I have more on like the afternoon, evening games that I do the
Uh-huh.
morning games, but I felt like there was much more value with those opening lines that we took on Monday, and then of course with this one being early afternoon, and I like the Western Michigan one that we added a couple
hmm
days ago. But I don't have really anything strong, at least with the evening games.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next game, 2:30, Vandy at Alabama. Crimson Tide laying 10 and a half. Taking some money here, laying $1.20. Totals at 55. Like we said earlier, Alabama's coming off one of the most impressive wins. They look like Alabama of old. Kalen DeBoer was locked in. They destroyed Georgia. The final score really didn't do it any justice. Georgia really didn't have a chance in that game. They a little bit at the very end, but Alabama dominated that game from start to finish. And now you have Vanderbilt, who they have Diego Pavia. A lot of talking, a lot of talking. Now they got to back it up. And then it's also a revenge angle for Alabama from last season. So now Vanderbilt's got to bring their A game on the road. Um, Games at 10 and a half. I could see this getting to 11. Public, high ticket count, all over Vandy. I'm not buying it. Will I bet Alabama? I haven't yet, but I think that's somewhere I want to be at. I don't know. The way Alabama looked on Saturday, it's hard. It would be hard for me to take Vandy in this game.
It's hard for me to bet either side here because like there's a part of me that wants to like fade Vanderbilt in the spot because this is kind of a revenge game for Alabama. But
Yeah.
then there's like a voice in the back of my head that's saying, "Hey, do not fade Vanderbilt and do not fade Diego Pavia because they just keep covering spreads. They keep
Yeah.
proving people wrong." So I don't have a strong lean in this game. I know a lot of people have strong leans here, and I've seen angles from both sides. I don't have a play ultimately other than saying I think we're going to see some points here for both teams, really.
Yeah.
Alabama, here's a nugget for y'all, DDSN Nation. Alabama under Kalen DeBoer has struggled against running quarterbacks, like true dual threat
Mhm.
quarterbacks. I'm not talking about a quarterback that can take off in 3rd and 8 and get you 4 or 5 yards. Like we're talking about a quarterback that can actually do damage with his legs. Obviously, Pavia can.
Yeah.
So I until I see it, I'm going to assume Bama is going to continue having those struggles with dual threat quarterbacks like a Diego Pavia. But is this a game where you trust Vanderbilt? Because Alabama, I know they're coming off of that huge win against Georgia, but they may have a little something up their sleeve for this game against Vanderbilt in revenge mode. I don't have a strong lean either way. You can make a great argument for either team here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. It should be a good game, but I could also see Alabama dominating it. But we'll have to wait and see.
By the way,
All right, next game. Oh, go ahead.
Washington 5.5 now. Five and a half point favorite at FanDuel.
Wait,
Went
who?
down from 6.5.
In the Maryland game?
Yeah, at
Oh, wow.
least at FanDuel.
Okay, well that's a full point move. Hold on, let me. Yeah, it's still I'm still seeing
Is it still 6.5 at Bet Online?
yeah, but it's I mean, it's at minus $1.20. So money's still coming in on Maryland. 2:30 game, Syracuse at SMU. I know you are thinking about something in this game. Did you ever pull the trigger on
No,
anything?
no. So SMU went from a 16.5 point favorite to a 17.5 point favorite. So very similar line and money coming in for SMU, just like it did
Hmm.
for Clemson against Syracuse. Now, here's the difference. SMU actually has a pulse this year. Clemson doesn't seem to care. Like the
Yeah.
body language, obviously, for Clemson has been awful. SMU actually cares. I was thinking about, though, taking the SMU team total over because I said it, DDSN Nation, Syracuse is not good. Even if they had Steve Angeli, they're not a great team. I don't know how they did against, I don't know how they performed as well as they did against Clemson, other than just saying Clemson sucks and they don't care.
Yeah.
I hate to say that about a team, but they don't look like they care right now, Clemson. Um, again, that's reading the body language of the players. That's what I'm going off of. I'm not going off of what some guy says, like Clemson doesn't care. Trust me. No, like
Yeah.
look at the body language. Clemson doesn't seem to care. So, anyways, back to this game. Syracuse is not a good team. They looked awful against Duke. I know they don't have Steve Angeli. Obviously, that doesn't help. It's a huge downgrade to Ricky Collins, no doubt. But the rest of the Syracuse roster is not good, especially on defense, which
Yeah.
is why I was thinking about taking an SMU team total over if it was like 34.5 or something, but it's at 37.5.
Hmm.
So obviously above a key number there. I still lean SMU minus 17.5, but this is not best bet material.
Yeah, same here. It's a big number. SMU should be able to get right here, score a lot of points. Totals 57. Syracuse, how many points did they score against Duke?
3.
Okay, so that's you may not want to touch the total.
They could have
But
scored 10,
yeah, what was that? 30 something to 3?
38-3. I mean,
Okay, there you
Syracuse
go.
could have scored like 10 or 14. Big woo
Hmm.
against that awesome Duke defense, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's SMU or nothing. I don't see myself getting there, but something to think about and watch. Next game, 2:30, Boise State Broncos at Notre Dame. Irish laying 20 and a half. Total 62 and a half. Anything
so,
here?
um if I'm going to be betting on Notre Dame at any point this season, the only thing that I would want to play is their team total over. Remember last week, we didn't make it a best bet. Hindsight's 2020. I should have. But we had a lean with Notre Dame team total over at Arkansas. It was
That's
at
right.
34 and a
Yep.
half. And I'm like, they might hit this in the first half. I should have
They
made it a
did.
best bet, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, but I didn't. That's on me. Notre Dame's team total, yeah, 41 and a half, juiced over minus 130. That would be the only way that I would want to play the Fighting Irish from this point forward. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't have any best bets for this game. That's a high number, and they might cover it. I tell you what, if Notre Dame covers that without sweating it out, guess what I'm going to be doing from this point forward? Notre Dame team total over. Notre Dame team total
Yeah.
over. But
I
for
mean,
now,
they've got a great offense. It's the
yeah.
defense that's the problem.
In fact, for the people that are saying Notre Dame's not as good this year and they're blaming CJ Carr, like watch the tape. It has nothing to do with CJ Carr. CJ Carr is the only reason Notre Dame has a pulse this year.
Yeah, no, CJ Carr's been great. It's the defense that's awful.
Yeah, so like I'm after the Arkansas game, I didn't hear as many people saying, "Oh, it must be CJ Carr, the young quarterback." If you actually go watch the tape for the first time, maybe forever, it's
Yeah.
actually the Notre Dame defense holding them back a little bit. They performed well against Arkansas in the second half, very well. Did that have to do a little bit with Arkansas, maybe on quit mode? Yeah, probably
Yeah.
so. But yeah, so if Notre Dame hammers this team total over, maybe they score 52, 56 points against Boise State, then I would be betting Notre Dame team total overs for the near future. But for now,
Uh-huh.
I don't have a best bet for this game.
Yeah. For me, I did play Boise State.
Okay.
This was juiced. Yeah, like it is right now. So I went ahead and just bought up to the half a point Boise State plus 21. I think the Broncos can keep this one close because I don't trust the Notre Dame defense.
Yeah.
This is a home game. They dominated Arkansas, but I think Boise could keep this one close. It's not going to be easy, but seeing as how Notre Dame kind of was a little lazy against teams like Purdue at home, I could see Boise keeping this one close.
So your best bet for you is Notre Dame plus 20.5, or can you find any flat 21s?
No, I Boise State plus 21.
So there is a plus 21 out there? Okay.
No, no, I had a buy up. I had a buy up for it. So there was
Okay.
like minus 113 for plus 21, which
Okay.
isn't terrible. So yeah. All
I'm
right,
I'm
next
trying to
game.
keep like tabs on your best bets so
Yeah,
I can.
let me write it down as well. Okay. Next game is Michigan State. This is a 3 p.m. kick. Michigan State Spartans at Nebraska. Cornhuskers laying 12 points. You have any info here?
No, there's been a lot of movement with the point total overall for this game. I don't
Uh-huh.
have a play. To tell you the truth, John, I don't really have a great feel for either of these teams. I mean, we previewed both of these teams at the Gridiron Expert. I did
Uh-huh.
roster previews with some of their top beat writers during the summer for
Yeah.
both the Spartans and Nebraska. Um, my takeaways with those two teams was the skill position is improved. Line of scrimmage is not where it should be or needs to be for them to actually make like a deep run this year, whether
Hmm.
it's in conference play or just to have a breakthrough season.
Yeah.
So I could see both of these quarterbacks having a lot of time to throw the football. Obviously, I think both these quarterbacks, Childs and Rayola, have a lot of upside to them. I think the receiving cores are both improved. So, like I said, the skill position has improved for both these teams, but line of scrimmage, not as much. So they have the finesse, but they don't really have what you need to have to be an upper echelon team in the current state of the Big Ten with those top few programs.
Hmm.
But I don't have like a strong feel for this game in terms of what's going to happen. Uh, in terms of what's going to happen, other than both quarterbacks should have a lot of time to throw the football.
Yeah, I like Michigan State here plus 12.
Okay.
This is going to be one of my best bets as well. Main reason being I don't like this Nebraska defense.
Yeah.
Michigan, who doesn't have a great offense, was able to move the ball pretty easily on Nebraska on the road. Michigan State's going to be on the road. I like the way Michigan State played against USC. USC still won pretty easily, but Michigan State did cover. So that's a good thing that they're going to keep pushing the ball, throwing the ball until the very end of the game. I think that Michigan State is a little underrated with their offense here, and I just don't like this Nebraska defense. And Raiola, it's hard to trust. A lot of turnover issues. Both teams, I believe, are coming off a bye though. But I think 12 points is just too many here. I don't think Nebraska is that special to where they should be laying double digits. So I like the Spartans here getting 12 points.
And this game will be played, yeah, at Michigan State. What is the spread now? Is it still 12? I haven't
It's
checked.
12, yeah. I'm
Okay.
seeing 12 on Bet Online.
Okay. I'll look around after the show to see if I can find a 12.5 for you.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, let's see here. Texas State, 3 p.m. kick. Texas State laying 13 and a half at Arkansas State. You have any thoughts on this one?
I lean Texas State here, so hindsight's 2020, right, John? But I guess I should have bet Arkansas State with Desert Dweller under 5.5 because that was one
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, so I lean Texas State here, but this is not best bet material.
Yeah, let me pull up. Let me just check the Texas State schedule here. I want to see. All right, so Texas State.
Texas
All right,
State
next
against
week they have a home game at Troy.
let's
So
see,
okay, and then
Texas State at Southern Miss, November 15th. As of now, looks like it's going to decide the West Division for the Sun Belt.
yeah, that looks like a close one. Yeah, UL Monroe beat Arkansas State by 12 points. Yeah, let me go ahead. This isn't going to be part of my five on my best bet, but I am going to take Texas State though. I like that because I just don't trust. There's no look ahead spot. I don't really trust Arkansas State, and Texas State's a big game for their conference hopes. So short number there, I think. All right, next game. I don't think we have anything here in the Sun Belt. So let's go ahead to a big showdown tomorrow night, and that's gonna be the Texas Tech Red Raiders laying 11 points at Houston. You have any info for us on this one?
I lean Texas Tech, so this is another lean, but this is not best bet. This is not quite best bet material.
Uh huh.
I do think Houston's offense is going to struggle in this game. Um, do you have any best bets here, John?
I do actually. I'm trying to look something up here. 1 second. Okay, got
Let's see
this.
the Houston
Yeah, and I
team.
know Baron Morton is starting. I believe Joey McGuire said that a day or two ago. What were you gonna say, Connor?
The Houston team total is 20.5. Heavily shaded to the under, minus 130 at FanDuel right now.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's teetering on the edge for me of a best bet there with the team total for Houston.
Uh-huh.
But I am going to stay away ultimately. I think this is kind of, take it with a grain of salt, kind of similar to Florida State and Virginia with what Houston did against Oregon State last week. I think they were looking ahead to this game, to this week.
Yeah.
Just like Florida
Yeah,
State looking ahead to
100%.
Miami.
100%.
So now look, Houston didn't look impressive against Oregon State, and obviously Oregon State has not looked good at all this year. Still have yet to even win a game. So like I lean Texas Tech here in every way, and they've been great against the number so far.
Yeah.
So, but I don't. I just don't love laying it with a road team. Like I don't know what it is, and I also don't like fading Willie Fritz.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stay away, but I think Houston's offense is going to struggle. So like my top lean for this game is taking the Houston team total under 20.5.
Okay. Well, I'm calling for the upset. I'm on the other
All
end
right.
here. I said this earlier. If Texas Tech's gonna lose a game, it's gonna be this road game. I think I don't know the number. What did this open up at? Was it 12?
I don't know where it opened. I don't know.
I feel like it opened at 11 and a half or 12. But I like Houston. I think that Houston is going to be coming in under the radar after that game at Oregon State. They still played tough and they got the win. They didn't lose. And a night game at Houston, if they're going to have a game, if Willie Fritz is going to have, his staple game here as a head coach of Houston, might as well be against Texas Tech. I really don't trust Connor Wegman, but he had two bad turnovers to start off that Oregon State game. But hopefully he's got that out of his system. Obviously, Texas Tech's a good team. They're a great team. They destroyed Utah. We don't know how good Utah is. Houston, I think their defense is underrated. They're also going to be at home. This reminds me of the game last year where I was all over Houston, and they were a lot worse last year, and I was all over Houston, and Kansas State came to town and they kicked their ass, destroyed Kansas State's conference hopes, their conference championship hopes, and I think they do the same here with Texas Tech, and I think Houston covers this game, and they have a chance to win this one. I'm
So
going out on a limb.
I like it. I like the
Yeah,
boldness there. I can
yeah.
find you Houston plus 12.5 at DraftKings. And I also just found you Michigan State plus 12.5 also at DraftKings.
Okay, nice. Okay, I like those numbers definitely. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think this sets up good. I think this sets up well for Houston. If not, they get inside the number. I like it.
Hey, John, real quick,
Go
I'll make
ahead.
a bold prediction. No best bet, obviously, here, but I'll make a bold prediction for the Houston Texas Tech game.
Okay.
If Houston is to win outright, they are going to have to do it in the exact same fashion to how they beat Kansas State last year. Now we have a sample size. They've done it before under Willie Fritz.
Yeah.
Willie Fritz has done it at Tulane, but I don't see Houston's offense moving the football a ton on Texas Tech's defense.
Yeah. And that's gonna be a struggle. Houston is a run first team, and then Wegman, he could throw it, but you don't know what you're gonna get. This is a huge step up in competition, obviously, for Houston, but it's still a Big 12 game. and it's going to matter a lot to both teams. I'm happy to go out on a limb here with Houston. I think that Willie Fritz, I think that defense could cause some trouble, at least to stay inside the number and make things difficult for Texas Tech. Again, Barrymore is going to start, but we may see the backup. Knowing Joey McGuire, he loves playing multiple quarterbacks, as many as he can. So I think it's going to be a good game, though. All right, next one. UNLV at Wyoming. I believe UNLV is still undefeated. They're going to be laying 3.5 points going up to Laramie. You have anything for us on this one in this game?
I would do a money line sprinkle on Wyoming. I don't think either team is that good. If this were like the Craig Bowl Wyoming program, still,
Hmm.
I would best bet this with Wyoming.
Yeah,
I think UNLV is completely a fraudulent undefeated team. I think they are good, not great offensively, and I think they are bad defensively. Miami
yeah.
of Ohio,
I like it. I don't. This is one of those games Wyoming has one or two every year where they're a home underdog and they just come to play and have a great game. At UNLV, like you said, they got Colin Drea at the quarterback. He's a gunslinger. He could have 4 interceptions just as just the same as he may have 4 touchdowns. UNLV a little bit, like you said, hasn't played a tough schedule either. Wyoming is a little bit more battle tested. They've played a little bit of a
yep,
tougher schedule so far, and
absolutely.
grabbing the hook and the money line at home in Laramie night game. This is a great recipe for the Cowboys here.
Yep, I agree. So this is not best bet. I know it's over 3.5, like you just mentioned, John, with the hook
Yeah.
there. This is not best bet material because I don't trust Wyoming
Uh
still,
huh.
but I also don't love UNLV. Um, you know what? We talked about our fraudulent teams with Iowa State and LSU. Well, UNLV, add them to the list. Their time is coming as well. I'll say
Yeah.
this: UNLV, look ahead spot here. They play at Boise in a couple of weeks. So for DDSN Nation, be on the lookout for those look ahead lines for UNLV at Boise State. Whenever that line comes out, lay it with Boise State. I mean, lay it because I think Boise might put a whooping on UNLV. Um,
And that's a home game for Boise.
it is. It'll be on the
Okay.
Smurf turf.
Okay.
Um, I don't have a best bet for this week for UNLV. Moneyline sprinkle with Wyoming. Have a little fun with that. But that's it. Like you mentioned, it's going to be in Laramie, in Laradice. It can get a
Yeah.
little bit interesting when you play in
Yep.
Laradice. So
All right, 6:30 kick. Kansas Jayhawks laying 4.5 at Central Florida. Central Florida coming off a loss to Kansas State. You have anything for us in this game?
So similar to UTSA Temple, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech. Um, I lean the road team here with the Jayhawks,
Uh
but
huh.
I don't want to make this a best bet. So I still do not trust the KU defense. I don't think they can tackle. Uh, Offensively, I love them. I think UCF is still kind of in a rebuild year, but this is something that I talked about, John, in the summer. Like I was wanting to fade UCF because I thought they were in a complete rebuild. But when you look at their
Uh
home
huh.
games, like this is their most difficult home game, I think, for UCF's sake. But they have a lot of
Yeah.
manageable home games this year. Again, this is not manageable, but it's winnable if things go right. I lean KU here, but again, I don't want to lay it with the road team.
Yeah, after last week, I can't trust Kansas, especially. And I said this on Tuesday. If Kansas is ever laying points on the road, I want nothing to do with them because they have no defense. So if anything, I would take Central Florida here. I haven't bet that. I should have bet this earlier in the week. I think it was +6. Now it's all the way down to 4.5. It's still a game where Central Florida could win. They're in their, what do they call that? The bounce house.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Central Florida wins this game. Kansas has a great offense,
yeah.
absolutely no defense, and that's the reason why they're not undefeated right now. They should be undefeated, but they have no defense. They should have beat Missouri. They should have beaten Cincinnati, but they lost both of those games. So yeah, that's unfortunate for Kansas because they're going to waste Jalen Daniels last season. And like I said, they should be undefeated right now. All right. 6:30 kick, Minnesota at Ohio State. Buckeyes laying 23.5. You have anything for this one?
Nope. I've looked at this game in all different kind of angles, and no matter how, if I were to play it, whether it's a team total perspective, game total, spread, alternate spread, first half, third quarter, no matter how you want to play this game, I think Vegas is on top of it with everything. I think you'd be sweating it out no matter if you want to take the Minnesota team total under is at 9.5 right now, Ohio State minus 23.5. Minnesota plus 23.5. I don't care
Yeah.
how you want to play it. I think you'd be completely sweating it out. So I don't have any best bets here, John.
Okay. Yeah, me either. Nothing for me, but I do in the next game, which I talked about on Tuesday, and that's the Miami Hurricanes laying 4 points on the road at Florida State. I'm all over the Seminoles here. I talked about it last week. I love how Florida State fought back against Virginia. They didn't just lay down. They actually, they bounced. They fought back. They punched Virginia in the mouth. They got punched in the mouth. But yeah, Miami. How for real is this Miami Hurricane team? We've seen them. We've seen their schedule. They played great against Notre Dame. That was a home game. Notre Dame's defense is awful. It's been confirmed to be awful, but Miami's offense has the weapons. They're firing on all cylinders with Carson Beck. Then they played South Florida, and South Florida, they got killed coming off of what? That was their third game in the row against top competition, looking
Yeah.
for another upset. Didn't happen. Then Miami played Florida. I believe Miami was at home again for that game. So now they're finally having to go on the road. Miami's schedule looks a little fraudulent right now. I love the Seminoles in this spot. It sets up perfectly for them. And I think that they'll cover. I don't agree with the line. I don't think it should be 4 or 4.5 like we talked about earlier in the week. And I think this is the game the Seminoles win, cover. I love the spot for Florida State here. They're now the hunted. They're now the hunter. They're no longer the hunted like they were last weekend. And Miami's going to have to do it on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, John, in terms of wanting to see more from Miami against more so of an upper echelon team.
Yeah.
Because obviously Florida's been very disappointing. Notre Dame on one side of the football has been disappointing, and Miami almost blew that lead against Notre Dame. That was very close to a Mario Cristobal moment. I think
Yeah.
everyone, even Miami fans, are waiting for that Mario Cristobal moment. So when does that come?
They
Maybe
may
it
not have to
comes.
wait too much longer.
It may not. Maybe it comes this week against their in-state rival. I don't have anything for this game, but I will be pulling for Florida State and pulling for your best bet here, John.
All right. I appreciate that. And let's see here. What other games do we have? Colorado TCU. Colorado at the Horned Frogs. TCU laying 13.5. Um, Colorado, they had a chance to beat BYU last week and they couldn't do it. The Caden Salter experience has gone terribly wrong. I still think they should start that backup Sour, or is it Sour or Salt? I don't know,
Hang
but
on.
I think the backup quarterback was pretty good
Oh,
against
Staub,
Houston, and
Ryan
then
Staub.
Staub. Okay, Staub. I thought he was pretty good against Houston, and then they just never gave him another chance. I understand giving Salter a chance, but he can't throw. Um, TCU coming off a brutal loss. Of course, it came down to the very end against Arizona State. TCU choked. They had too many. They couldn't get a first down to win the game in the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, back-to-back turnovers, I believe, from Hoover. So it was a nightmare ending for TCU. I got the push with the +3, +2.5 betters get killed. But I don't know. TCU coming off a loss against this Colorado defense, and I could see them running up the score here. I don't know if I'll play TCU, but I definitely can't take Colorado here.
This is, I guess, similar to KU UCF in terms. Well, for one, it's obviously a Big 12 matchup, but second, like with KU UCF, I lean KU because I think they're the better team. So
Hmm.
if I were to play it, I would just want to lay it with the Jayhawks, but that's not best bet material. Well, this is similar. I think TCU is obviously the better team. So with it being under the key number of 14, I would want to lay it here with the home team with the Horned Frogs, but this is not best bet material. Um, I am intrigued though to see like if TCU like tries to run up the score if it gets to that point because we all remember what happened 2 years ago when
Yep,
Colorado went to Fort Worth. And I
that's right.
know the way Sonny Dykes thinks and this program, like they didn't forget that. Like we
Yeah,
saw, like when TCU put a lot of emphasis into the opener against North Carolina because they felt a little disrespected. North Carolina was getting all the attention. Well,
hmm,
obviously Colorado's not getting the same amount of attention for this game, but
yeah,
again, TCU doesn't forget what happened 2 years ago. So maybe TCU runs a score up. Maybe they win by a few touchdowns or so. This is not best bet material, but I certainly lean TCU. And John, as you know, I don't trust Colorado this year.
yeah,
I made a bet with their win total early on. And again, DDSN Nation, apologies for not putting that one out because it moved significantly a couple months
hmm,
later. So TCU or no play for me.
yeah. Same here. Next game, Mississippi State Bulldogs at the Texas A&M Aggies. Aggies laying 16 at home. Texas A&M coming off a nice win against Auburn. Mississippi State coming off a heartbreak loss to Tennessee. You have any info here for us?
Mm-mm. I don't know what to expect here. Like you mentioned, John, Mississippi State is coming off of an emotional loss to Tennessee. I mean, they had that game. They should have won outright. Um, so now you wonder how they're going to respond. But A&M also coming off a big game against Auburn. A&M should have won that game by a lot more than what they did, but that
Yep.
Auburn defense kept the Tigers in it. Um, what is it, 14 to hook? You said?
16.
Oh, it's moved up. Okay, so yeah, no play for me
Yeah, it
here.
was 14 earlier in the week, and now it's all the way up to 16.
Yeah, I have not done any analysis on this matchup. Obviously, I know the spot for these teams and the games that they're coming off of, but I don't know really what to expect here. So I'm staying away here. I don't
Yeah.
think this game really has any best bet material.
Yeah, after the way I saw A&M manhandle Auburn, there's no way I could back Mississippi State. There's a 16 out there, and you're like, well, maybe they can backdoor it, but Auburn couldn't push the ball, couldn't move the ball. Their offensive line, who's pretty solid, could not block A&M. And Jackson Arnold, the stiff that he is, just stood there and took sack after sack after sack. So Mississippi State, they killed themselves with pick sixes, so turnovers are an issue. I can't after a heartbreak loss. It's going to take a lot for Mississippi State to get off the map. And will they do it against Texas A&M? A&M doesn't really have a look ahead spot here, so there should be laser focus against the Bulldogs. I don't know if I'll bet A&M, but there's no way I could bet Mississippi State here.
Yep, same here.
All right. Tulsa at Memphis. Memphis laying 20.5 and taking money. You have anything for us here?
No, no, I really don't know much about Tulsa this year. Um,
They're very up and down. I mean, other than that Oklahoma State game where they played incredible, they've just been so unpredictable.
yeah, like I thought they were going to whoop New Mexico State a few weeks ago, and New Mexico State ended up winning that game.
Yep.
Memphis, like we know Memphis is talented, but with the spread of 21 and a half, depending on where
Yeah.
you look,
It's a
maybe there's
lot.
some flat 21s. Like this is definitely not best bet material. Is Memphis going to bring their A game here? Probably not. So
All right, 9:30 kick. Duke Blue Devils laying 2.5 at Cal Berkeley. You have anything for us here?
no, I know a lot of sharps are all over Cal, and then the public is all over Duke.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect here. This is 100% not best bet material. Maybe someone else has a strong lean. If you do, go for it. I don't have a feel for this game. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is going to be a crazy game because Duke, the way that they play, um, I mean, they've been running this up tempo offense. Like their offense
Hmm.
has certainly improved from last year.
Yeah.
Duke's has, but their defense has taken multiple steps back. I know they beat Syracuse, but that's more with Syracuse than it is Duke with that score. Cal, uh, can anyone figure out what Cal is at this point?
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty good, except that trip to San Diego. Other than that, Cal's been pretty spot on, and I like him here in this spot as well. I'm waiting to see if a three pops up, which Duke's, they're laying 2.5 at $1.21, so it's just a matter of time before a three pops up here for the Cal Bears, and I could definitely see myself with a ticket on the money line as well. Come Saturday night.
Are you going to best bet this or not?
No, no, this isn't part of mine.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything on this game.
And the last game of the night, Nevada Wolfpack at Fresno State. Bulldogs laying 13.5. You have anything here for us?
I have a lean, but not best bet.
Okay.
I lean Nevada plus the points. I think Nevada is better than their record has shown.
Uh-huh.
Not by much. Look, they're not that great, but
Yeah.
I think they're better than the record slightly. And I think Fresno is, I don't know about a lot, but I think that they are a decent amount worse than what their record shows.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find like plus 14 out there, I doubt you can find any 14 and a halves, but if you can find plus 14, I would take Nevada plus the points there. Maybe you
It
push.
may get there by the time, 9:30 tomorrow. We may see a 14.
Yeah, I lean Nevada plus the points, but that's not best bet material. I don't want to stay up late to see if Nevada covers against Fresno.
Yeah.
I'm not that interested, but I lean that way. So if you had any leans in that game with the Wolfpack before I just said what I said, and now maybe you have increased confidence, if you want to make that a best bet for yourself, go for it. But I'm not going to best bet this with my own money.
Okay. All right. Well, that's everything for us. Let's go ahead and run down our best bets. You go ahead.
All right, so a couple of these numbers obviously have changed since when we tweeted these out earlier this week. On Monday, we tweeted out Purdue plus 10.5, hosting Illinois. That's now 9.5. That's the best bet for me. Purdue plus 10.5. Cincinnati money line. John, I think you said it's like maybe minus 115 out there somewhere.
Whenever we went over it earlier, yes.
Okay. I'm finding like minus 118 at FanDuel right now. That's a good play. I would take
Yeah.
Cincinnati on the money line. That's one of my best bets. Texas, Florida, under 45. That's now 41.5 to 42.5. Maybe there's a 43 out there. I haven't looked everywhere because I've already got my bet in place, obviously, at 45 with
Mm-hmm.
that key number there. That was something that we tweeted out on the Desert Dweller Sports Network X page, Twitter page, whatever it's being called nowadays,
Yeah.
back on Monday. And then I also I've added a couple since then. I love that Colorado State team total under 17.5 tonight at San Diego State. You are going to be laying a little bit of juice there. If you'd rather take a better price at 16.5, go for it. Because I think it's going to be a struggle bus for Colorado State. Obviously, under that key number, you might be sweating it out to the end, depending on how many turnovers the San Diego State offense decides to have. But maybe if they can keep things clean, the San Diego State offense, I don't think you're going to be sweating out that Colorado State team total. Remember, San Diego State has not given up a single point at home this season, and they're not exactly facing a great offense in the Rams. So I love that
Yeah.
Colorado State team total under 17.5. And then my last one, give me Western Michigan minus 13.5 at UMass. It's my only Road Warriors pick for this week, but I like the Broncos laying the points there. I think Western Michigan beats UMass by a few touchdowns.
All right, there you have it. All right, let me go ahead and pull. All right, so my best bets. Let's hear it. All right, Maryland plus 6.5. I'm also going to do a little bit on the money line as well. There, I think they can win the game and beat Washington. Next game, Boise State plus 21. I think the Broncos can score some points. Again, this Notre Dame defense coming off a big win against Arkansas. I think Boise State can score some points on that Notre Dame defense. Notre Dame was juiced at 20.5. So I went ahead and bought up in a very cheap amount for 21. I believe it was $11, $13 for Boise State plus 21. I'm happy with that. Also, Michigan State plus 12 at Nebraska. I like this Michigan State offense. They can move the ball, something that Nebraska has struggled with. They struggled with it against Cincinnati, against Michigan. I think Michigan State has a chance to. I think they could steal a road win here, but I like getting the points, the 12 points. Next one, Houston plus 11. Going out on a little limb here. I think Houston Cougars are going to give Texas Tech a tough game. Although Texas Tech dominated Utah, they had that game circled on their schedule all year, all summer. But now Houston coming off a dicey, close game against Oregon State on the road. I think Willie Fritz is going to have his team ready to go for this one. Huge Big 12 game for both teams. Huge national championship implications for both teams because college football playoff. Last time I checked, I believe Houston's still undefeated. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I think that's a game that they could even win. But I do like Houston getting points here to keep this one close against the Red Raiders. And last but not least, Florida State. I gave this one out earlier in the week. Florida State plus 4.5. It's at 4. I still like Florida State plus 4, as well as on the money line. I think Florida State is going to come back from their loss against Virginia. They're now the Hunters, and Miami's the Hunted. I love this game for Florida State at home. Castellanos, he had a great game, came up just short in overtime on the road, but I think this Florida State team is tough, and they're going to give Miami all they can handle. I love the home team here. Seminoles will get the win. And that's all of my best bets. I think that's everything from you, CFE. You have anything else you wanna get out there before we shut it down?
In terms of your best bets, and for our listeners, there's a plus 12.5 for Michigan State at DraftKings. There's also a plus 12.5 for Houston at DraftKings. Yeah, plus 4.5. If you want to wait, there might be like a 5.5 because there is some money coming in on Miami at 4.5 at some
Okay.
places. So if you want to wait, there might be a 5.5. But if you want to go ahead and jump on that now, feel free. If you really like the Seminoles in that matchup, plus 6.5 with Maryland, I'd probably I think there's if you like Washington, there's some 5.5s out there. If you like Maryland, I would go ahead and grab that number. Boise State plus 21. My guess is there's probably going to be more money coming in on the Broncos. I don't know where that line's going to close, but it may close at 20.5 for Notre
Yeah.
Dame. So like if you like plus 21, if you can find that, I guess I would get on that number now. And yeah, that'll finish it up.
All right, that's everything from us. Thanks for everyone who tuned in on X and on YouTube and the questions. Let us know if you have anything else. On X, follow us at DDSN_US. The encyclopedia is at CFE Grind. Let's look forward to a huge weekend, and it gets started tonight with the Friday games. We have a nice little, I think, 5 or 6 games. We get started there with a nice little roll into Saturday. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.